Just a little shot to show you that I've got the thing over here. I've got to clean up the floor, stuff like that a little bit. This damn camera. I've got to tell you, so I turned it off last night. It had like 98% of the battery. I turned it back on this morning and it still got 98 or 97% of the battery. I don't know what it is. Some nights I'll turn the thing off and the next day I'll come in and it'll be absolutely down to zero. Other times, like today, yesterday and today, I turned it off and came back in and has held its charge overnight. Just don't know what's going on with the damn thing. But anyways, this is beginning of chapter 78. I've got it over here, just got to clean up, and I'll show you some shots as I do it, as I progress. And here it is rolled over to the back of the truck as it, after I had cleaned up that floor a little bit. No, it isn't. It's got to be. It isn't setting exactly like plumb. It's got to be rolled up a little bit. This is the channel that I'm probably, this piece of channel that I'm going to use to put into the frame rails. It doesn't fit exactly. This is 5-inch. The frame rails on the inside are like 5.5, 5 3/4, but the frame rails are more rounded than like the right angle of the channel is. So I've got to work that out to how I'm going to shim it. Let's call it shimming it. But anyways, there it is behind the truck. Okay, here I am behind the truck. Now, let me just tell you, it's probably a week or a week and a half after I shot that last clip. So things have changed, but I didn't get a chance to film it. I've just had a lot going on. But anyways, the brackets have been welded on. You can see what I've got it in here. I just marked the holes so that I can, I've got 5 holes on each side. These 2 on the end, these 2 that are offset from a little bit, and then this one. So there's going to be 5 bolts on each side. But I got the things welded on. Again, I didn't get a chance to film any of it. I've been kind of busy doing some things, and then Emma, my grandson's daughter, who you've seen in a couple of my videos if you followed the channel. But anyway, she went to the state championships for gymnastics, and we went down there for about 3 days while that was going on. And then I've been on a haul, had to go down to North Carolina, Virginia, and then I've been doing some local hauls, but maybe I'll explain that. But the point of the matter is I didn't get a chance to film me cutting and welding those things on. What I did is brought the plate up to the back, got it leveled out, put the plates in there and brought the welder over and just tacked them, and then pulled it back out and took it over to the welding bench and welded them out. Now, I only welded it on one side. I didn't want to weld it on this side. Inside the frame rail is that piece of channel. I didn't want to weld it on this side because the weld would interfere with me butting it up tight against the frame there. Welded on the inside, it doesn't make any difference. But anyways, there it is. What I'm going to do is pull it off. I've still got to determine the shim that goes in below there. When I shut you off, I'm going to measure it and see what kind of a clearance I have in there. Now, Probably I'm going to use shorter pieces. When I say shorter, maybe like figure out what the shim stock that's got to be in there. Use one at the back and one at the front on each side, just to keep it that way. Originally, I was just going to use one at the back at the bottom on it, put that on there, because I've kind of figured if there was anybody bumped into the back of the bumper, the force would be up here going up, and you can't go up any higher. So, but then I was thinking, if I'm pulling a trailer, maybe there would be force that way. So I'm going to put shim stocks on both the front and back of it, so to keep that plate from tilting down. Now, it shouldn't tilt down with 5 bolts on each side, but you never know. So I'd rather be safe than sorry on the whole thing. But anyways, there's that. I'll bring you back. What I got to do is I'll pull it. I've already marked those holes. I've got to measure that shim stock, and then I'll pull it out, and I'm going to use a mag drill to drill them. So 2 things. Well, 3 things. You can probably see now because I have the overhead door open. But anyways, I found this piece of 3/4 inch stock in my scrap bin, and it fits, but it fits extremely tightly, and I'm afraid I'll see. I was thinking about maybe taking a fly cutter and just taking off maybe 25 thousandths or something like that, just so that I don't have issues getting it in. But I'll bring you back to that. I've got it over here. What I'm going to do is, I told you could see, but let's go this side. So here are the holes. This is top, this is bottom. I don't think that I'm going to drill that one because it's going to be too close to the leg. If I was even able to get a bolt in there, I would never get the nut on the back side of it because of the lip on the channel iron. So it's probably just going to be 4 bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4 that go in there. I'll see about that piece of stock. Let me think about it for a couple minutes here, and I'll decide what to do. When I say it was tight, and I used, as you can see, there's a lot of dross on it from where they cut it, but I used the good side to stick in there, and it was hard getting it in. I mean, if I weld it on, it's probably going to be too thick without beating it with a sledgehammer. But I'll think it over and bring you back. Just a quick shot here just to show you I got the mag drill set up and then started drilling the holes in there. One of the things that I've got to do is get some of that POR 15 and so that I can paint this. I want to make sure that I get paint on it. Not a finish coat necessarily, but at least POR on the underside or the side that's going to be sandwiched in between the frame rail and that. Get it protected with that POR 15. At POR 15, you're not really supposed to expose it to sunlight. It deteriorates when UV probably. But anyways, you have to paint over the exposed parts that is going to be exposed to sunlight. But I need to get it on there before I finish bolting this thing up. So here we are with the 4 holes drilled on the right hand side or passenger side. No, I'm sorry, this is the left hand side. One of the things that happened is originally I showed you the marks on there. I had done it what I had done is trace the holes through the existing holes in the frame rails with a Sharpie. Well, it was a blue Sharpie, and it's all I really had at the time. One of the things that happens is you come over here to put the bag drill on, and those marks kind of disappear in the shadows of the mag drill or under the light. And what I've ended up doing is this hole totally disappeared on me. Now, I kind of thought that I could see where it was, so I drilled this one first, and then I had trouble trying to locate that hole with the mag drill on the thing. I thought I saw where it was, but I didn't want to drill it. I drilled these two, and then what I did is went over and got a punch and punched where I thought it was. Then I went back over to the frame rails and measured the distance, the center to center distance between the two holes and the distance down. And my punch mark was correct as far as the center to center of the two holes. The distance down was off from what I measured on the frame, so I just readjusted that. But what I will do on the other side is go through and punch it. I can't tell you how frustrating it is sometimes to do things like this. Is a stupid thing not to have the right marking tool there to begin with. It would have been nice if I had centering punches and could have used centering punches to go through the existing holes on the frame rail, but I don't have centering punches, so I had to make do with what I had, and it's kind of frustrating to not have the right tools. But anyways, I'm going to punch the other side. It's getting towards lunchtime. I'll punch the other side and probably go out, get something to eat, and then come back and drill the other side. So I'm back over here, and this is the other side, the right hand side, and I've got to punch the holes. But kind of the reason I brought you over here is I've got a couple of books sitting up there, and I'll explain them in a minute. One of the things that I wanted to discuss with you is it seems like I've been spending a lot of time on this rear bumper, and kind of what I have been doing is I've been procrastinating on getting this whole thing done because of some other things that are going to have to be done on this project, and one of them is the wiring of it. Now, these are a couple of old books that I had picked up 2 or 3 years ago, just to kind of see what they had to say, see what they were doing, just with no particular reason for picking them up other than for kind of trying to learn something or figure something out if I needed to. What they are good at is explaining to you how to do it, but they don't give you the kind of the knowledge that you need to understand it. I had talked about in another video before about not understanding. You've got a light, in this case it's going to be LED lights, that's got turn signal functions, flash signals, but that's kind of the same as a turn signal. But it's got brake lights, tail lights, turn signals built into one. How they don't backfeed from one to the other. In other words, if you turn the turn signal on, if it's going through the same bulb, same wire is from with brakes and turn signals, if you turn the turn signal on, why doesn't it backfeed and go to the rest of the devices that are off of that same wire? Now I know about diodes and that, but I didn't know how they were incorporated into it, and I've kind of gotten a little farther, and I think it's through the relays. Um, they run relays for like turn signals, flashers, brake lights, stuff like that, and apparently, to my guessing right now, because I haven't found this out for certain, is that relay must have some sort of a diode in it that prevents that from happening, or separates the circuit somehow and prevents it from happening. Whether it's a diode or a separation of circuits, I'm not really sure. But so one of the problems I'm getting into is, or why I've been procrastinating about this thing, is for that and some other things on the truck. I mean, you have to kind of have a game plan to where you're going to go and what you may need, so you don't have to go back and rip stuff apart and redo it to begin with. So I've kind of been procrastinating, and my procrastination has turned into me making a lot of videos about this rear bumper, and probably people are getting pretty sick of it by now, but it's almost done, and I'll start running the lights. I've got to assume that since the brake and tail light thing works the same way on this, is it's going to work into the 7-prong electrical plug for trailers. But anyways, I'll keep going. I've still got to punch this thing, and I'll drill it, and I'll just show it to you after I get it drilled out. So as you can see, I got both sides, the holes into it, and got it back over here near the truck. Now I wasn't going to do it today because the vet was in the way and it's raining, and didn't want to take the vet outside, but I was able to get it back far enough where I could wheel this thing from the welding table back over here. So as long as I could do it, I'm gonna test fit it back onto it again. So there it is, mounted to the truck. Actually, all the holes worked out fine. I was kind of assuming that, again, marking it through an existing hole in the frame rails with a magic marker isn't the most accurate thing in the world. So I kind of figured that I'd be running a drill bit through there to kind of straighten out some of the holes to get the bolt through. But that didn't happen. Now, there was one bolt on both sides that I had to kind of pound in with a drift pin that I had, but it didn't even screw the threads up. I was able to start and engage a full nut onto it without having to use a wrench, so it wasn't that bad off. Just as a thing, when I put it on there, took the engine hoist, the weight off of the engine hoist, it actually dropped the frame down 3/8 of an inch just from the weight of the back bumper. Now, so there's now lock nuts. I put the bolts in, put nuts on them, and hit them with the impact wrench, but not tight with the impact wrench. I just hit them, tightened them up. But the thing is pretty solid. But one thing that I want to do, and oh, by the way, I did order, I ordered a gallon of POR 15 semi-gloss black. But anyways, one of the things that I want to do is, since this is bolted on there, and I talked about extending a tube up from that hitch to come up to the frame, I'm probably going to put some kind of a flange into that tube, a bolted flange, so that if I ever did want to remove this thing just by bolting it, it wouldn't be a solid welded thing. But I'll work that out. But anyways, it's on there, bolted on, in place, and I've got to wait for the POR 15 to come in. I've got to figure out this tube that goes back from there and how I'm going to do it. I said maybe put a flange connection in there. The other thing I could do is just have whatever I'm going to tie it into across the frame rail bolted to the frame, but let me see what I'm going to do. I've still got to do the shims under this thing. I want to get them under there, even though it doesn't appear that they are needed. If I ever get a lot of torque onto the hitch or get bumped in the back, I want to make sure that it is solid and in being held in between both flanges of the frame rail. But anyways, that's probably going to do it for this chapter. I'll bring you back and let you know what I need to do. One of the things, I keep thinking of other things. I have to get I'm probably going to mount a license plate up in here. I have to get a license plate light above there too, so I'll have to get that ordered. I can only imagine what Truck Light's going to charge for that, or Napa is going to charge from Truck Light for that thing. Probably $100 for a light that I bought for the for the International a year and a half or 2 years ago, that I probably paid maybe $22 for, but I'll let you know. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment.